This is the BEnergyAware Podcast. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of the BEnergyAware Podcast, brought to you by Get Empowered audiobook, written and read by me, Bran Katanec. This audiobook contains the tools that help you be grounded, confident, and empowered. Buy the audiobook on Amazon or get the exclusive bonus edition at BEnergyAware.com/shop. I'm including the links in the description of this episode. Thank you so much for your support. It's much appreciated. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about detachment and how to become detached. I know that highly sensitive people can be really bothered by some things. It's okay to be sensitive and to acknowledge how sensitive we are to certain things. And it's also good to try to find out if perhaps we can heal whatever is behind this, so that we are not bothered by that same thing again. How many times have you found yourself in a situation where you're so triggered that you completely lose control over your actions? We all know what it's like when our actions are ruled by our emotions. And in those moments, it's really hard to stop ourselves from acting a certain way. And then sometimes we really regret it. Practicing detachment is something that could definitely be of help. So, how do we practice detachment? Well, for me, I have made a set of guidelines for myself for different situations in which I get triggered. There are situations where I get triggered just a little bit, then there are those where I get triggered significantly, and then there are those that really blow my fuse, so to speak. But the ones that actually worry me the most are small triggers that are kind of hidden and that go by unnoticed until they pile up, and then I just blow up and need to remove myself from the situation immediately so that I have a chance to calm down and then deal with whatever caused me to react. I think this kind of situation can happen to just about anyone. But with time and practice, I believe we can lessen the chance of it happening. Going back to my set of guidelines for different kinds of triggering situations, or should I say, for different levels of being triggered. If I get triggered just a little bit, I'm normally good at handling those situations and can get myself out of them without much trouble. If I am triggered significantly, then I know that doing less and saying less works best, at least for me, before I get a chance to remove myself from that situation. But if I'm triggered beyond what I feel I can handle, I've found that it's best to remove myself from that situation as soon as possible. And of course, it's slightly different for situations where I personally know the people that are involved. And it's different for when I deal with total strangers. My main guide is kindness. I like to think that most people do not want to cause harm or upset others. If they are doing something that seems harsh and not loving, then I know that they are really struggling with something. It's good to take that into consideration. That, of course, doesn't make right whatever they are doing and doesn't necessarily help us with being less triggered, but can sometimes help when considering the next course of actions that we can take. It can make it easier for us not to take it so personally, or at least to try to not take it personally. But what might be even more important here is understanding why we get triggered and what kind of inner work we need to do in order to not get triggered by that same thing again and again and again. Once we get to the bottom of whatever is going on internally for us, we then might be able to not get triggered by that same thing again, or get triggered less than before, or that we can at least handle ourselves better in case we do get triggered like that again. Understanding why the trigger and where it comes from is important. Why is this? Whatever it is. Why is it bothering me so much? Good to find that out so that we can look for the best way on how to deal with it. How I found that out for myself when it comes to certain triggers of mine, I started asking the right questions and then got the answers during my meditations. Let me know what some of your triggers are, and feel free to share how you've dealt with them and what has worked for you when it comes to becoming detached. Message me on Instagram at BEnergyAware or through my website, BEnergyAware.com. And please subscribe and share this podcast with your friends. I'm Bran, your host, and I'll talk to you next Friday.